It is game day today as Manchester United hosts Bodo Glimt in Ruben Amorim's first game in charge at Old Trafford. It is certainly an important game to mark this new era that started off underwhelmingly. But the boss confirmed that he's going to have the confidence and boldness to make rotations to his squad. In this video, I'm here to talk about my probable starting 11 based on every word that was said by Ruben Amorim in his pre-match press conference. Like, share, and subscribe. We are powered by Uplift Causes. We do help young people with mental health and substance abuse by giving them awareness and education about drugs that are becoming so rampant in Africa. But let's get proper into the football talk, because the first change that I expect to happen, guys, is in terms of the leading the line, the striking department, where I think Rasmus Højlund will be leading the line, not Marcus Rashford. I think for me, I would be shocked if Højlund does not start leading the line, in all honesty. But these are some of the other expected changes. Starting from goal, of course, I don't think Onana will be dropped. I think Onana will still maintain his place in between the sticks. Then in the back line, the back three, I would go Licha, because it was confirmed that Licha will be available and fit and fresh. Then delete, I think, can be kept. Now I've pulled Dalot from the wing back side, from the left wing back, to come and play on the right, just to rest Musa Mazraoui. I feel like if there is one player who we need to manage and rest, I think it's Musa Mazraoui. He's an extremely fit player. Don't get it twisted. We need him. But I believe against Bodo Glimt, he's one we can afford to rest. And maybe if things don't happen well, we can bring him on later. But I feel like he's one player we need to rest, because you want to keep your best players fresh for your toughest encounter, which I think will be the Arsenal game. So resting him for this one, I believe we can cope with Dalot playing on the right hand side of the central defense. So that would be my probable back three. Then Shaw, depending on how fit he is, comes in on the left wing back. But if not, if Shaw is not 100% fit, how about trying there Anthony? Because I've said it here before during the times of Eric Ten Hag that I actually think Anthony would be a better left back than an attacking player because of his work rate. Anthony has got a good work rate. The only issue is, can he learn to have the discipline to release the ball fast? And he does actually can do it several times, because it's not always that whenever he gets the ball, he's trying to beat off a man. So I think if Shaw is not 100% fit, I reckon Amorim would want to use a natural left-footed player to play on the left-hand side of the wing back, of the wing. So I would put Shaw there, or Anthony starting ahead of Shaw if Shaw is not 100%, because that's possible. Then in the middle, in the event that Kobe Maino is also not 100% fit, the first priority would be Kobe. But in the event that Kobe is not yet 100% fit, because remember, he hasn't played a single minute since his return from injury, so we don't know what state he's in, and we certainly may not want to risk him. But if he's 100% fit, he's obviously should be my starter with Ugarte. But if not, then I would keep Bruno there, not Casemiro. I would put Bruno next to Ugarte, then maintain Ahmad. I think Ahmad still needs to be. He's in the mood. He's fresh. He's fired up. He's learning to play that Quenda role quite well. So I think we need to keep him there. And also, he's a threat. He's the natural threat we have in our outfield team. So I would keep Ahmad there on the right. Then ZIRKZEE and Mount come in to play behind Højlund, because I still want to see more of ZIRKZEE playing with Højlund. And given the style of ZIRKZEE, who is mostly half a 9.5, like he wants to call himself, I feel if he has in such a setup, he can probably have a role to play, because if Mount is doing most of the high pressing, ZIRKZEE can then do the smart work on the ball because of his good smart passes and deft passes that he can play. So it's a different dimension he brings to the game. So factor in how Bruno, we know he can pass from deep, can distribute the ball from deep. I believe the trio of Bruno, Mount, and ZIRKZEE, shielded by Ugarte playing behind Højlund, can give us a decent dimension to work with. I would want to look at it. I look at that squad and I feel like really it has got everything in it to make light work of Bodo Glimt. I think there is hard work in there, because Bruno is a hard worker, Ugarte is a hard worker. Ahmad is, of course, certainly a hard worker. ZIRKZEE showed us he can run. I remember the first games he played with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Mount, when he's fit, he's a hard worker. He can press high. Of course, HOJLUND is a definite hard worker. I see a semblance of hard work in that squad. Dalot is a hard worker. Of course, sure, depending on how fit he is. If he's fit, he's a hard worker. Licha is a hard worker. Delete is a hard worker. I see a semblance of hard work in that team. So my honest opinion is it won't be so far away from that. I don't think Amorim will be so far away from that. That's what I expect to be the starting 11. And that's one that I think can win a game convincingly at Old Trafford, playing the Ruben Amorim way. Prediction of that game, by the way, for me, it should be a 3-1 or 3-0 win for Man United. I think we've got to bully this this Bodo Glimt. We've got to to be arrogant in terms of how we play them. We've got to play with the swagger of Man United against a Mino. That's how I expect Man United to show up. So that character, which Amorim spoke about as well, that United has got to build a character that is of Manchester United. I think we can, and starting with this Bodo Glimt, if we brush them aside, playing the Amorim way and overwhelm them, trust me, it will be a big statement for all our upcoming opponents. Very important game for me. And remember, for me, all this is building up to the Arsenal game, which is going to be the ultimate test for Ruben Amorim. The Arsenal game on the 4th of December is going to be the test. And by that time, you want to expect that most of the players have mastered the way Ruben Amorim wants to play. So that's for me my probable starting 11 for the first home game for the new boss, which I expect is also going to be his first win as Manchester United manager, and indeed it's going to open doors for more and more to come. Give me your opinion in the comment section about what changes you would think you would make to that. Again, Kobe, I would love to see Kobe. In all fairness, if Kobe is fit, I'm just not sure of his fitness. If he's not fit, Bruno there. If he's fit, I would put him where Bruno is. Probably drop one of Mount and ZIRKZEE for Bruno to push up top, or even switch it up a bit because again, whereas it's quite unlikely to happen, but I would want to look at Kobe playing in those areas behind HOJLUND as one of the number 10s. I would love to see Kobe play in that role and see what it gives us. But that said, I still think we'll have a formidable team to come out there and give us a good result. I think it's going to be a happy ending today. I think it will be a happy ending for Manchester United today, without a doubt. Now, Ruben Amorim in his pre-match press conference, even first in his post-match press conference after Ipswich, of course, he was mentioning names in his explanations, and of course, it doesn't look good at all if a manager is mentioning names, and especially if English is not your first language. This British media can try to twist what you've said and try to create a storm where there is no storm, just out of your statements, and try to make it look like you've disparaged your players. Because Amorim, in his explanation, sort of mentioned that Johnny Evans and I think ZIRKZEE at one point, I believe, in terms of explaining issues he saw in the team. And there are people who have been trying to twist that to try as if to put or rally the players against Ruben Amorim, as if to suggest he's exposing them. Yet this is a guy who has said it constantly that he would be sacked defending his players. I think we don't need to fuel that hate talk. I've had started seeing it. I was seeing an article somewhere about how Amorim could already be losing the dressing room and stuff. You know how Man United is. You know, there's always those naysayers. Some pretend to be journalists, but they're always naysayers looking for every opportunity to disorganize what a new manager is trying to do. I think we don't need to give attention to such. I think we've got to focus. Amorim has got his dressing room intact. I think he's trying to find ways of making all players happy by talking of rotations and resting them, giving them days off to rest and refresh, and stuff like that. So for me, I strongly believe it's good what he's doing. I think it will get the players rallying behind him. I think the players also know that this guy has got the utmost belief and the trust of the Ineos team that recruited him. So the players know they've got nowhere to run. So they will certainly play for him, whether they like him or not, whether they like his style of playing football or not. I think they will certainly have to play just for their own careers. So for me, I think it doesn't make sense for us to start going into the back and forth of the hate speech and rumors and rumor mongering going on around Amorim and what he says. I think we just need to get the statements he makes and interpret them the way he was trying to mean them, not to make our own interpretations. Like people are pouncing on what he said that players are going to suffer, that we are going to suffer a bit for a long time. I mean, and then someone picks that and tries to make it look like this guy is saying Man United is not going to win games of football. In everything he says, he clearly puts it clear. He knows that this is Man United, that even when you're rebuilding and bring a new playing style, you've got to be winning games of football. And it's against teams like Bodo Glimt that you've got no excuse not to win, regardless of whether you've been in for a minute, for a day, for a week, or a year. You've got to be beating certain teams, more so at Old Trafford. So Amorim knows, and I think he was given a proper education of the club he's managing, and I think he's a smart guy as well to see it for himself and know well what to do, what to say, and calculate his statements well, so that it doesn't really expose him. So for me, it's quite important. I like the fact that between the last game and now, he hasn't really done a lot of talking. I think he has not been all over the media. I think he tried to control that and limit the number of interviews. I think he complained about it, and which I think is a good thing. It's high time he focuses more on the coaching and do those interviews that he must do. I think the grace period is done and the period of excitement is done in new manager and what he's going to do and stuff. It's time for people now to let the guy get down to work and see what he can do. And trust me, tonight you're going to see it in a different way from everyone and from the players. I'm fired up, I'm rallied up. I expect an exciting game. No shocks, no upsets, no lazy bodies, no lazy players. It's a properly applied victory for Manchester United. If I was betting, it would be a sure win today. Unfortunately, I don't. But this would be a sure win for me. Like, share, and subscribe. And let me catch you later, fam.